Okay, back. What a great break. That's really starting to work. This is what I was after. Exactly what I was after. Everyone interacting, opening up their own doors because they're interacting. And it gives you a really good indicator of what's going to happen in the future. Can you imagine walking into the supermarket and talking with people so freely? Mixing with people at the school, just allowing everything to flow, and each one supporting the other to build all the things they know. You going to tell us?
Sure.
Okay.
It's so interesting. I mean, I've just experienced a complete flip because it is about the earth realm. It's about being here. So I went and shut down in my van for about an hour. And I just said, okay, show me. Because I don't know much about this ET stuff. And, you know, it's just nothing that I'm really familiar. So I went, I was just exhausted and I just asked, please show me. So I immediately went into this blue, crystalline, energetic space. I wasn't alone. I think some of you are with me. And I'm looking around and sort of getting a sense of what it is. And so it was like we were sitting there in our energetic blue, so I'm a ET or whatever to call it, and I'm sitting in a chair and I'm bringing up my human consciousness, and then I'm educating it. And so it's looking around and it's getting just about so much. It's completely new, and we're all sitting around with bringing up our human consciousness, and we're all like we're just dumb. We're just like, what? And each of us have a different level of education. And then we let the human consciousness go back to Earth, and then we just go about our business on the ship. We're in lotus position and we're flying and going to different dimensions. We're really happy. We're excited about Mission Earth or something, and we're just joyful, and it's just like no big deal. And it's like you came in later, but we came in at birth to these human suits. Because when in Rome, do as the Romans do. We were supposed to be human. We were supposed to forget. We were supposed to be confused. Everything that is human. And so we came in, but we were still at the same simultaneously up in the ships, bouncing around, doing what we do. And then, and knowing that everything was perfect. And then there would be, maybe when I go to sleep at night or something, I'm just me up in the ship or on this planet where I just sort of lift up and I'm flying around almost like a cat. I almost have like this cat spine, and I'm just, I fly into the ground and I'm flying inside the earth, and that was what it was shown to me too. And then back in the sort of crystalline, like, what is this? This isn't really a ship. It was just vibration, and I came back here and I just looked around and it's like, oh my God, we're all wearing these earth suits. And that the earth suit is confusion, fear, separation, and of course beauty and contemplation and all of it. And that it's not a problem. Like when I'm here, it's confusing, I'm in pain. But when I'm myself, it's exciting, and that there's this mission and it's time. And we're bringing our consciousness into these ships and letting our consciousness slowly the human consciousness slowly wake up, and then coming back down and being transformed. And that's sort of, so I feel like I know who I am.
Wow.
That's brilliant.
Thank you. Just
And
ask.
keep going. There's more. Everything that you do comes back to that place. beyond the infinite in the spaceship. And remember, even in the spaceship, that happens again.
Ah, another level. So, and another and another.
Yes,
and
of
another.
course.
Okay? So it's the infinite beyond the infinite. That's brilliant. We've been waiting for that for a long time, haven't we? And you brought it through, that's great. Particularly someone who says, I don't know anything about it. Yeah.
When you think you know about it, you don't know.
So when you don't know anything about it, that's when you have access. That's, and that is where the old word came in that turned us upside down. The old word called humility. It was used to control us. In actual fact, it was a word given to, if you don't know, if you don't profess to know, you will know. But it got turned upside down and used against us to control us. That was done by those who couldn't get back to the ship. And there's quite a few that can't. Because they lost that desire to be there. And they're the ones that they call the fallen ones, but they're not, there's nothing wrong. It's just they're in a different consciousness now to what they started. They moved on. And they're the people you'll find that can't see you. That run into you in the supermarket and you say, can't you see me? It's a really strange thing. Every time I stand in the supermarket, it can be that wide, you know? And I'll stand anywhere and everyone will walk straight at me. I move over there and they come straight at me. I have no idea why that happens. So all the time you're in their road.
So is the same true if you're in a group of people and you speak up, but it's as though no one hears you?
Yeah.
Is it the same thing?
Different
Because I always interpreted it as I was not showing up energetically, or I was, no, it's
I
not
can't
me.
hear you.
Huh.
And if you need them to hear you, you go and buy yourself a big meat pie or something and eat it, and it'll bring the vibrations where they can hear you.
Oh.
Maybe the business meeting.
Always. Best to go in, to high level meetings,
Eat beef.
in talking to the top people in industry or in, particularly with the Navy, because they're very fixed in their ways and they've got a very fixed and solid vibration. And I'd speak and they couldn't understand me.
Yeah.
You could see them all going like this. Saying, can you repeat that? What did you say? And I'd just say, hang on a minute, and I'd go out and buy a chocolate or a pie and drink it quickly. Eat it quickly. You don't drink pies. Eat it quickly and then go back into the meeting and they could hear me
Huh. And you drink coffee
for the same reason.
for that reason, yeah.
You
So we
wouldn't
can
hear me
hear.
otherwise.
Huh. So does that mean, not that I'm asking you to address this question now, but does that mean there's a whole piece about diet and nutrition that we should be paying attention to differently?
No, it'll do it automatically.
Okay.
It's the opposite of what you thought.
Yeah.
Eat more meat pies.
Last Sunday, CD. Right, yes.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But what will happen is you will know exactly what suits you in every minute. And there are no rules. Because today one thing's good for you, tomorrow something else is good for you. Because of everything that's around you, because of the people that are around you, because of the process you have to go through in this world. So maybe you're going for a meeting, maybe you're going to work, maybe you're coming home from work. Your eating habits will be different. And when we've got a fixed pattern, we put ourselves into pressure situations where we maybe should be eating the opposite to what we actually eat, because we've followed the person's rules in the health food store. But if you hold something, you'll know if it's for you. You don't even have to look at it. And if you want to figure out what you should offer to someone else, just focus on them and hold it, and you'll say no, yes. Just the same as you do with flowers. You know exactly what flowers you've got to take to what person because of the way it feels. So when we go into how we work, I drink a lot of coffee to get that vibration so that everybody can hear it. By this afternoon I wouldn't have to because you're in the same vibration. But then the CD wouldn't be too good for anyone else. Particularly now that I'm starting to allow all the vibrations to happen. And that will change the flow of all sorts of things to everyone. Because it's just like if you're alongside someone you've known for a long time, you feel freer. And you don't know why. It just feels comfortable. Well, you've all known me for a very long time. And if I just let everything go the way I can, you will join and feel very comfortable. But at this point, if I take it too far, you might find your body reacting. I've had that before where I didn't know that the body couldn't handle some of the energies that you own. And so I sort of gave permission for that to flow in people, and they were killing over sick and all sorts of things while I'm talking to them. So that's not power, that's just permission to be totally open. And when you're totally open, the energy flows tremendously fast, and more combinations of energies, more music, more frequencies, more joy, more craziness. It's just brilliant. And right now, I hold back on that a little bit so that you don't have to go through any craziness that your body might feed to you. But as we go along, I'm sure that you'll be telling me what you want. And that's the brilliant part that I'm looking for. The greatest feeling in the world is freedom. Freedom to be more than you are. And that is where we're pointing everyone at the moment, because each one of you has capability and facilities to handle enormous amounts of energy, to handle enormous projects, to produce what you'd never believe. And the freedom to do that comes very, very quickly with that infinite trust. Because infinite trust drops everything. And the second you focus on infinite trust, everything in your life just goes up into a single line, straight to where you belong. So some of the good things that come out of everybody talking is a relaxed state that gives you all an open book. The ability to speak about your experiences, the ability to be excited about what's coming next. When you wake up in the morning, you'll find that you're looking for what's coming. You'll be looking for that excitement, that feeling of, wow, this being that I'm working with is really me. And the capability doesn't even come up as a picture. It's just a beautiful excitement and a beautiful knowing that it's still present. In the next few weeks, we'll be working solidly at doing a few things to make a difference in the real, everyday physical plane. We've done a little bit of work on finance, and it started with us just saying, I think it's time. All the riches of the world started to come into our hands so that we can do something with it. And some of that is showing up. And we look like being able to produce a line of credit into so many areas that you'll all be able to do exactly what you want to do, because it's all based on flow. And every one of you know what area that's got to go into. So the serious work is knowing then what you'll do with this massive line of credit. You're here to make a difference. Some of us are here to be able to find those lines of credit so that we can get things moving and then get it recycling so that it's a flow that is infinite through people. And as people do things, they make a profit, it feeds back in, it keeps going. And I mentioned that, we're not talking about $100, we're talking about trillions of dollars that we can get access to.
How often have you said trillion?
In relation to dollars.
And I'm the one who can hold that possibility steady. So what I intend to do is work with every one of you to make sure that we all can see what we're going to do when everything is released. Because the ideas will just flow. Everything you look at, you'll say, if I did this, that would happen. I'm going to make sure my family's okay first. And it'll just keep flowing. And I want you to keep doing that. So that you go through everything you can possibly imagine. And you filter out all the things that don't work. You all know what happens if you put money into a fund. It disappears. It doesn't get to the people who need it. We've got to use our skills to make it happen without appearing in headlines. It's got to appear as if it's free circulation and nobody sees the value of what it is before it starts. So it's got to trickle and flow just like the river. And it's our skill that'll make it happen so that it's transparent. There's going to be a big change in the world in the next couple of weeks, and it's been held up.
Yeah, pretty amazing, huh?
What's happening?
The steam.
Yeah, the sun hit us.
So it's been held up by interference that we knew was going to be there.
It's transformation from one state to another.
Yeah.
That's it.
So being able to speak openly about that side of things is great. But the best thing to talk about is all the projects you've got, all the things that pop up. You'll find it can happen because you don't have to worry about the cash. The possibilities grow because you don't need cash, you need flow. You need to kick something off and then it'll go somewhere and it'll put the money back. You know that it'll grow just like flowers, and it'll grow quickly, and people will grow quickly. We can just take the lid off things. There are various things that many of us have got in the pipeline, if you like to call it, where when I say let's really go for it, we're just going to stir everything up and bring everything out into the open so that we can get flow. And what I'll do with my company is I'll commit it to a massive debt because I know how that works. I know that used properly, debt is income. But if I put that onto anyone else, they wouldn't know what to do with it. Because it's just like two sides of the coin, you know, or on scales. You have a lot of money, you have a lot of debt, and it balances. And if you want to get a flow, increase the debt, and you'll flow the money. And we want flow. And I'm able to increase that debt to a massive amount, let the flow go, and then let it balance back up again. So we're almost ready to do all that sort of thing. The intricacies, don't worry about. Out of nowhere, we'll come up with a way to make sure that wherever the credit line is needed, it'll be there. But what I want from you is that brilliance that sees the people, sees the areas, and sees the flow happening. Not the help, not the gifts. Nothing is based on charity. It's based on flow. Because charity just goes in the hole. A few people get something out of it and then they say, well, give us some more. But flow will go through 50 or 60 of them and keep them all going. So the whole principle of getting this flow going is to make sure that every dollar we move is used at least 10 times. And the way you do that is to give it to the people who know what to do. The ones who know where to pass it on. And nobody hangs on to anything because they know it doesn't belong to them. And as it goes through and gets to the young people, it blossoms. And it turns into 100 times what you started with. You know, when we were, all the older ones know when we were young, we never worried about money, we just made money if we needed it. And did what we wanted to do. And as you get on, you get this sense of responsibility. It's just like a big bag of bricks you carry on your back, and it doesn't help. But when we get all this flow happening to the young ones, it'll just come back, it'll take the load off us, and it'll just start recycling. So it's a plan that's a lot bigger than you can hold in your consciousness in this world. And that's why I'm saying it wouldn't matter who we told it to, they'd just say you're crazy. So there'll be no one running around trying to stop us because they'll say, oh, not possible. But we all know the little bit that's inside us. And we all know that if we look at something that's really dear to us and we get that going, that fulfills our part and gives us great excitement. So this sounds like a real serious thing, but it's not. It's the biggest game of chess you've ever come across in all your life. And we have the next move. And we're one move off checkmate. And that game of chess has been going on for hundreds of years. And us in the Galactic Federation know every move. We know where everything's been placed and why. And this final move is checkmate. So be sure to know that it's a game. It's really not serious, it's a game. And it's just like the game of somebody on the next property casually throwing a couple of old tyres in the creek so that he gets more water than you. Not building a dam, just making a difference. We've found out where all those old tyres are. We've found out what lifts and makes the flow happen. And they're all waiting to press the button.
Say that again, they're all what?
They're all waiting to press the button,
Waiting to press the button.
yeah, to lift everything all at once. That's why all the people in the world are getting to the point of saying, that's enough. If that government can't give us what we want, they can go away. Because they realise that the government's only a few people. It's not that big muscle that they thought was there. It's those few people that say no. We don't need them. We don't even have to stop them. Because they're a minor number in the number that we have here on Earth at the moment. With a couple of phone calls from all of you, you could gather more people than they've got in every government in the world. One day on Facebook, forget the government. So we're all in that position of power, but we don't need to disrupt anything. We just need to know that it's there. And we need to know that all the governments, the banks, the big parties that are controlling money will still control money. And they'll still make money, but they won't block it. Because the flow will give them just as much as they were getting before and a little bit more. It's just a whole little tweak. When you got checkmate, you say, okay, now I'm calling the tune, not you. And I want you to make as much money as me and a little bit more, but you can't own it. It has to flow. And it'll flow all the way down to the lowest food chain and bring them out of where they are because they're not supposed to be there. So that's just an insight into one of the main projects that we're working on. There is, tell us your plan that we talked about at the table this morning.
Yeah. Oh, it's for the continuation of the idea of the bus that I talked about. The bus is just the physical starting point. It's a representation of something that's going to happen. We're going to get in that bus and we're going to go to a different city and we're going to show up and put a tea house around it, put some furniture down, put some carpets down, and we're going to show up with people speaking, and then musicians, and then people with music to dance to. And the first day, it's going to be on private land. We're not going to worry about permits or anything like that. We're going to show up and call our buddies, and 50 people are going to show up the first night. The next night, 350 people are going to show up because they heard about how awesome it was last night. And the next night, 500 people will show up, 600 people will show up. And the next night, they're going to show up, and we're not going to even be there.
And how long is this bus?
Well, this particular bus is 60 feet long. It's a 1958 Art Deco styled aluminum bus that is absolutely gorgeous. And everywhere I drive it, people put their thumbs out the window and wave and honk, and I use my horn way more than I probably should. Everybody loves it. Everybody loves it, and it draws attention. And basically, it's the Pied Piper. That might even be the name of it. Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
You already have someone on board, I understand.
We've got a few people on board. Few people, and the idea is we show up, we have speakers, musicians, cirque performers, theater. all of these kind of things, but everything that gets spoken is exactly what's getting spoken about today. And eventually, word is going to precede us, and we're going to be invited to the next place, and invited to the next place, and invited to the next place, and we're just going to follow that thing until that thing is spread everywhere. And it's probably not going to be just us doing it. My hope is that there will be 30 other groups of people doing the same thing.
And that's the level of project.
Yeah.
It's
But it starts out with a
lighting
bus, you know? That is going to be 30 groups of people doing this work all over the place. I'm absolutely certain of that. But right now, it was just going to Utah and buying a bus. Because that's what I felt like doing.
So it's going to bring music, good food and service to people without them even asking. When we were in Pennsylvania, we spoke to many people about what will drive all the projects in the future. And one of the biggest things that I kept saying to everyone is we're going to have the greatest presentation of art and personal achievement that you've ever seen in all your life. And we even got to the point of talking to a director who's done, you tell a story that I can't remember what he's done.
Larry Fuller is the name probably on every poster of every Broadway show that you know. And he just had a big, what do you do when they all celebrate?
Dinner,
They didn't roast him, but they all got together to
benefit.
honor him. He's a choreographer and director. And his name is Larry Fuller. Evita, and I can't think of one title now, but you go into his house and he has all the posters up. And he's excited. He's turned on.
Because we just said to him that I can see one of the biggest shows that's ever been produced on the earth coming out of every one of us, because it's what we brought with us. We all have a part, we all know what we're going to do. And he said, and he listened to us for a long time, and then he went and looked at our facilities we had there, and we're talking away, and he said, so what are we going to do with finance and all that? And I said, don't worry about any of that.
Oh, and timing.
Timing and
It'll take a lot
when we do
many
this.
years. And
Yeah, and he said, you know, what you're talking about, it's going to take roughly 3 years to get organised, and probably another year to do the choreography. And I said, I'm looking at 3 months. And he said, oh, impossible. And I said, what if I said, it's the show that you brought with you, the one that's in your heart? He said, you're on. So he's sitting there, he knows that this will happen. Everybody knows that they've got something to contribute. Even if it's to get up and yell, you know. They've got something to contribute, and we're going to do that. So that's another part of what's happening around us all. And it's not small, but it is what we brought here. Every one of us brought magic that has to be presented. So we're not stopping short. Someone said to me, how do you do that? I said, I don't know. No idea, but we're going to. And I know that I can do that because I've done it. A friend of mine sat with me in a meeting with the Navy many years ago. Oh, it's only 10 years ago, where we had a couple of ships to convert and get them ready for support ships that had a couple of hospitals and landing craft and water production and power and all that sort of thing. So it was a real top project. And I set up how it would be done and the timing and the budget and the whole lot, and I did it all out of the top of my head and presented it and got it approved all in one day. And the engineer that's sitting next to me gave me a bump like this, and he says, "How the hell are you going to do that?" And I said, "I don't know." So we got a multi-million dollar project, two of us sitting there running it all. And he says, "Oh, God, not again," because we've done it a few times. And we did it. All within budget. Delivered it on the exact day. And picked up a $2 million bonus for the owner. And they all said it was impossible. But we did it. Because I didn't ask what not to do.
Right.
And even the equipment that we were designing, which really you couldn't order until you designed everything around it, I just sat there for a bit and said, it's got to be this. And we're talking a lot of money and a lot of production time. Built in Japan, long delivery times. So I just saw the whole lot, put it all together and ordered $75 million worth of stuff off the top of my head that could have been wrong. The guy said, "You can't do that." I said, "Well, we done it." And we did it, and there was not one thing wrong. And they were all special high-speed circuit breakers and electrical equipment, motors and generators and all that sort of stuff. Because I knew that was my project. And I knew exactly what had to go into it. And I designed it all in a very short time, but it took quite a while to put it all on paper. I think it was 2 weeks to design it and 2 years to put it on paper. So this is what's available to us all. If you're game enough to keep going. So we're going to do the big project, and we're going to do a lot of other big things based on, you know, what these people bring through. And you'll see that you can get answers from young people that you wouldn't even have a clue where they got it from. But it's exactly right. Because that's what they brought here for us this time. And all we've got to do is say yes. So there'll be a lot more ahead of us after this, in the practical sense. In the everyday sense, we intend to make sure that everybody enjoys life. To be a connoisseur of life is so magic. And to make sure that you are living at the level that suits your being is essential. So don't be surprised if we have some really nice dinners and some really nice outings, and we make sure we're all looked after. That's just a little bit of a vision of what's ahead. But in saying it, you've got to see that there is no intention of anybody to live below the level that they feel they should be at. That'll be different for everyone. There are people in amongst us that are total royalty, and people who are farmers, and they both love their position. And they're the levels that you live at, the one that's in your heart. And if you're not living at that level, change it. And if it's funds that are stopping you, still change it. The funds will change. For those who've ever bought their first house, you never ever thought it would cost what it cost. You didn't have anywhere near enough money and you struggled to get the deposit. Never worried about how much it would cost you from there on. That was the bank's problem, to figure out whether you were good enough to pay off the loan. 2 days after you got your house and had all the worry about the money, it disappeared. And you just carried on, and it got fulfilled. And you never really struggled, because you didn't take any notice of it. Second house, you start taking notice of it. First time you have a problem, you start taking notice of it. But in the initial stages, it went fine. And your income rose to the occasion. If we can see that, we set a level first and the income follows. We've been taught to do the opposite, not to do anything until we've got the resources. It doesn't work like that. We are the resource. And we will wind up our output, or we'll wind up our gathering power, if you like, to bring in what we need to produce the level that we're supposed to live at. The most important thing, though, is the music, and that's why I wanted to play with that a few times with other talks I've had. There is nothing happens in this world or in this universe without the music. The music within yourself, or the music that's with the play on the recorder. It produces the fuel to start your engine. And once your engine starts, there is a process happens that we've described at different times that starts all sorts of things generating and brings it back to the point you're at now, where everything is calm and running well, exciting and able to proceed. And if you try to hold the music still, it won't happen. It's not music anymore. If you try to hold the movement from the music, it stops. Your engine stops. So the flow of your energy is dependent on you having music and joy and lightheartedness in your life. What we're feeling now is a lot of overload, and I want to change that. So I'd like to put some music on if we can. And feel the energy still moving. Feel the vibration. Feel the intensity of it. It's just the slightest movement will increase. You can feel yourself totally steady, holding it exactly the way you want, with a precision that nobody can describe. So that it just continues, and it's perfect. That's harmony. And harmony is so powerful. It supports everything. So in the midst of anything, you can find that harmony just by moving and tracking and going out and coming back and finding that place where you can just settle. And the energy's still going, wow, in everything, but there's a harmony. That's where we're going to produce free energy. It starts with music. Music within us. So the only reason we haven't had free energy is we didn't think we could do it. All the science will work in our presence. A bit freaky, isn't it? But it's true. And you can feel it. That's why we can play with charging telephones up and making things not work, and making things go crazy. But all the time, there's that harmony, and everything keeps running. And you'll notice, doesn't matter what I say, you're focused on that harmony. It's still running. The more we do this, the more your body will say, that's how I operate. I don't operate in turmoil, I don't chase anything. I find the harmony and I generate free energy. It's calm and it's endless.